Hey tractor chasers, we have this unique opportunity to be out in the field for buckwheat harvest. We're going to watch them swathing the buckwheat and then combining it with their John Deere S550 with a pickup head. We're also going to get up in the cab with Luke to learn all about buckwheat harvest. It's a really unique crop that you don't see very often, so it's fun to really learn about it. We'll hear about what it takes to grow it, why they choose to grow it, and then what the buckwheat is used for. So let's go watch them work and then we'll get up in the cab. Alright guys, we are up in the cab with Luke and we are getting some buckwheat harvested today. And Luke, buckwheat isn't a crop that we see very much. What makes you guys decide to grow buckwheat on your farm?
We like to grow buckwheat for a number of different reasons. One reason being the weed control. It kind of breaks up when we do field operations. So buckwheat will typically be planted around the 4th of July, and then we'll harvest it early to mid-September. We'll swath it and then let it dry down for a week or two, and then come through and pick it up with a combine. So it allows us to have a pretty short season crop that we wouldn't otherwise be able to grow, and gives us a good opportunity to get a winter grain behind it. It's also a pretty aggressive crop, so it smothers out weeds, being that it's such a short season crop. It grows really fast, it'll smother out weeds, so it'll help with weed control. And then it also leaves the soil really nice. It makes the soil real mellow. And so those are kind of the main reasons we grow it. It kind of helps with our rotation, and helps the fertility, and helps the soil.
So New York used to grow a lot of buckwheat, you were saying, and why do you think people stopped growing buckwheat?
It's a little bit of a tricky crop to grow in terms of the equipment needed. You need to have specialized equipment, being a swather and a pickup head, which aren't very common in this part of the world. And it doesn't yield a lot, so it's not a real high yielding, high profitable crop. So I think those are probably kind of some of the main reasons that we don't see as much buckwheat as historically was grown in New York.
And the weather's been really nice. We've had this good stretch of dry weather, and I imagine that really helps with drying down this buckwheat?
Yes, so the swaths of the buckwheat, the one benefit is they don't necessarily have to, it's not like hay that it gets ruined if it gets rained on or loses a lot of quality. You can swath buckwheat and let it sit, and we've had it get snowed on and rained on, and you can still harvest it afterwards. And so but this year's been really nice with the dry weather. where you've been able to swath it. Not too much longer later, you've been able to combine and pick it up, and where it's pretty dry, so we won't really have to put any extra air on it in the bin, and should be a pretty decent crop this year.
Yeah. And you said that you could direct cut this, but that's not really the best way to do it, or?
So buckwheat's an indeterminate plant, meaning that it doesn't all flower and set seed. One plant itself doesn't flower and all set seed at the same time, like your corn or soybeans they'll flower and the whole plant, all your soybeans are flowered and set in pods, and then mature all at the same time. Buckwheat will continuously start flowering and setting seeds. So when we swath it, you see that there's still some white flowers on there. So that plant is still flowering, and so the swathing kills the plant and then lets everything dry up and become mature.
And so what will this buckwheat get used for as the end product?
So this buckwheat, once we have it in the bin and it's dry, which shouldn't be that big of a deal this year, it'll be dry, and then we'll clean it. So we'll get rid of any lighter material and leaves and small. If there's any weed seeds, we'll get rid of that. So it'll be just clean buckwheat. And then this is actually going to be sold to a flour mill, and so they will mill it for flour, and it can be used in like a buckwheat pancake mix or whatever else you want to bake with buckwheat.
Yeah. And what's a good, if it was your ideal year of harvesting, what's a good yield for buckwheat?
Buckwheat will typically yield around 1,000 pounds to the acre, so sometimes it'll be better than that, sometimes it'll be worse than that, but that's roughly on our farm kind of our benchmark. We're relatively happy with it.
Yeah. And what kind of weather conditions does buckwheat like?
It doesn't like moisture. It likes dry growing conditions, and so that's why you plant it a little later, plant in July, so it likes dry and hot weather, so it likes it warm and dry. So.
Yeah. When you guys are running the swather, how do you know when it's time to swath it?
We'll usually go by the calendar so the length, number of days since planting, as well as kind of looking at the flowers and seeing how many flowers we still have, and trying to shoot for around like 10%.
Well, I appreciate you sharing your knowledge on buckwheat. This is such an interesting crop to see harvested, and really neat to see the unique equipment, the swather and the S550 with the pickup head. So this has been really fun.
Yep, well, I'm glad you guys have come along, and hope it turns into a good video.
I hope you love being out in the field for buckwheat harvest and learning a little bit about it. If you love seeing farm equipment like this in action, please take a minute to subscribe to the Tractor Chasers channel so you don't miss any videos. Thanks for watching.